Shout out Sniper T on the beat.
Tamara to the break of dawn is on the rise, with life on the forefront of the mind. So line for line, you can ride this brain train and you can change your station without even touching the dial. So relax, stay a little bit, but listen for a while. And whether you're bumping this in the whip or in a business fit, it's a meeting you won't want to miss. A meeting for a meal to feed the soul with words for the mind. So sit back, enjoy the ride. Time to take off, it's time to fly. Cause Tamara till the break of dawn is on the rise.
Hey, y'all. It's me, Tamara. Oh, yes. Studio audience, way to just make it do what it do. Hey, y'all. It feels good to be back. And it ain't even like I missed a week because I was here last week, but I don't know. It feels good to be back. So new listeners, thank you so much for tuning in. New episodes drop every Thursday. Usually talk about my life and the ways I'm trying to grow. Shout out to all my regular supporters. I definitely appreciate y'all continuing to listen. If you're not, you should totally follow me on social media, subscribe to the YouTube channel. So the link to do all that is in the episode notes. Guys, it is currently the day after the 4th of July, and they are still out there popping fireworks, and it is so disgusting. So we'll go backwards through 4th of July weekend real quick before I get off into the actual topics. Y'all, I got bullet points. Like, we finna really get into this today, because this is just a bunch of different stuff that's, it's been rising up in my spirit. You feel me? But 4th of July. So, as we all know, like, I've been staying at my mom's house, and my mom lives in a different part of town than what I have lived in the past several years. So I lived in the suburbs, basically. And in the suburbs on 4th of July, they don't be getting down like how they get down around here, to where, I kid you not, it was after 2 o'clock in the morning and I was still up because I had work to do. I worked all day 4th of July, so I did not leave the house at all. And it was actually amazing because I can't remember the last time that I just, didn't have to leave the house at all day, or didn't have to really talk to anybody or really do anything. It was great. So, after 2 o'clock in the morning, I was still up working, and they were still popping fireworks. And it's not even like they were popping the quiet ones, like they cared about the fact that it was after 2 o'clock in the mornings. No. The finale didn't finale when it should have finaleed. So then here we are, 11 o'clock at night currently on July 5th, and I'm still hearing fireworks in the distance. Yay! Not. Okay. So 4th didn't do really anything. Sunday didn't really do too much either. Saturday, shout out to basically it's like family, because it is the girls' family. So shout out to Alicia for having me over, grilling, having a birthday cake for me. Because I literally, when I think about it, I worked all day on my birthday and then worked basically all week. Like Saturday, y'all know I've said this, that's the only day that I don't work. And maybe I may sacrifice part of a day, if just depending on where I'm at, but we ain't there right now, you know what I'm saying? So my sister did come into town, like I said. We went to the zoo. I'm actually gonna have her on pretty soon, and we're gonna kind of just recap the zoo, and haven't seen each other in like 5 years, so, and whatever else we talk about. So I'm gonna have her on soon. But she did come into town on the 29th, saw her for a few hours, and then like literally left her and her boyfriend at the zoo because I had to go meet with clients. You know what I'm saying? So like I was just going, but I really forced myself to have a rest day on Saturdays. And so, and it's really like rest from the normal grind. So like I won't do anything work related. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not saying I don't go anywhere, but it's the day that if people want to plan something with me, I usually try to plan it for Saturdays because like I gotta stay on top of my stuff, you know what I'm saying? And so went over there, it was so great. Like literally it was for me. You know what I'm saying? She had this cake. Ooh. And I had to leave it there because I'm like, we not taking that with us. It's Snatch 40 still. My t-shirts is getting looser and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? My pants are like they're getting bigger. Like it's so funny because a lot of my clothes have to be high waisted just because I really need to buy new clothes, but I'm just making it work right now. It ain't like saggy all up out here, you know what I'm saying? But I'm just saying like it's definitely getting too big and we not trying to ruin that progress, you know what I'm saying? So, but this cake, y'all, like caramel, there was a lot going on, but it wasn't like too much. Like to me, it wasn't too sweet. There was like cake and then like some caramel, but then the cake was like like I don't know if you ever had like I think it's tres leches cake where the cake will be kind of like really really moist or whatever, and then it had like a peanut caramel layer or something, some Cool Whip, some Reese's peanut butter cups, some peanut butter M&Ms or there was just a lot happening, and I remember her asking me what my favorite candy was, and I didn't really ask her why. I just said, "Hey, whatever." I didn't know what she was doing, and she had whoever made this incorporate it into the cake. She grilled. There was margarita mix drinks or whatever, and I do drink, but it's kind of rare just because I don't really have much downtime. So drinking is not my oh, I had a rough day and I want to drink. That's not where I'm at with drinking. I drink like if I'm celebrating or like I want to say, oh, Father's Day. Father's Day, I did have a couple shots of some Bacardi that I don't even know where this person got it from, but whatever. So yeah, like it's more like celebratory, you know what I'm saying? So had some drinks, whatever. It was such a great day. Yeah, so that was my 4th of July weekend. I'm supposed to be hanging out with a couple more like people are really like scheduling birthday stuff and it's great, you know what I'm saying? Just because I did nothing on my actual birthday. I literally worked all day, like I said, worked all week, worked all day 4th of July because it fell on a Monday. And plus, I kind of needed that day because, like I said before, it was such a adjustment to go from having like a really open schedule when I didn't have the subcontracting clients to, okay, because I meet with now 4 kids 3 days a week or 3 times a week each kid, you know what I'm saying? So like figuring out that schedule, so that's easily taking up, I'd say, including travel time, and that's easily, and then documentation, that's taking up for sure like over 15 hours a week. And that's if it's only like a hour meeting, and some of them have been going over, you know what I'm saying? So like just trying to adjust all of that, adjust to, excuse me, and then maintain the stuff that I got to maintain because content has to go out and all that stuff. So it's like, I guess that's a great segue to my first point. Like I said, this episode is just a bunch of random, not random because they're all inspired by real events, but they're just stuff I want to talk about. So the first thing is, and I have bullet points because I don't want to forget none, because sometimes when I don't have bullet points, most of my episodes I just talk, and I'll leading up to the episode be like, "Ooh, I want to talk about this." And then when I get into it, whatever happens happens, and I usually forget. So, when I don't want to forget something, I will have bullet points. So the first one is, don't forget what you did to get to where you are once you get to where you want to be. Because most likely, whatever you did to get to where you are is what's going to help you sustain the level that you get to. And the crazy thing for me, and the people who are going to notice this the most are podcasters, because if you notice, I have I used to have a heavy podcast rotation, like multiple episodes every day. The only day I maybe didn't listen was maybe like on Saturday and Sunday, because those didn't used to be, well, Saturday still isn't a work day, but you know what I mean. But when I was working, I was always, I have to have background, not noise, because I'm not trying to disrespect what y'all doing, so it's not that. But like, I have to have something that like distracts my brain otherwise. And I don't know why I forgot that, because all through college, even that's when I learned I'm probably low key, probably high key ADHD, you know what I'm saying? But they didn't really talk about, or ADD probably, because I don't never really had the behavior side of things. But they didn't really talk about stuff like that, you know what I'm saying? But it's like I have to have had to have like music or the TV or something on in the background when I'm working to try to focus, because somehow the noise in the background helps me focus in on whatever I'm working on. I did that all through college. I did that in my last job, which was a lot of like paperwork and documentation and reporting and all this stuff. I don't know why I forgot about that. But for some reason, in the last month or so, or a few months, however long y'all been seeing my podcast rotation just dwindling to, it was kind of non existent practically. I forgot that like that is what has helped me stay successful. And so how I figured out something was off is last week, which is crazy because it was my birthday week. So, like I said, my birthday was the 27th. My sister's birthday that came into town was the 29th. Last week was like the worst week for me as far as work wise, and even leading up to that, because nothing really just is suddenly there. Usually there were little things that were leading up to it, and then it just comes to a head. You know what I'm saying? That's definitely what it was for me. So like I said last week, being behind on this project, the biggest struggle has been being able to focus to actually write these procedures, which is wild because I've written tons of manuals for this client and even for other clients. And for some reason, I just could not focus. And what I realized is because I wasn't using my tool, which is listening to podcasts, even if it's having it just super low, just so it's enough that I could hear it. So I'm not putting it to the point that I'm not actually listening to y'all shows, which y'all should know because I usually tweet at y'all when I listen. But sometimes it needs to be like quieter than, there's just different levels depending on what I'm doing. But I forgot. And when I found myself even behind on like the daily content, like ideally I like to by Friday of the week before, so that I don't have to do anything with it on Sunday. But at the very latest, by Sunday of the week going into the new week, I want to have all of my Melanin Intoxicate and Tamara the Dawn Ink content created and uploaded and just ready to go. Because y'all know, like Tamara the Dawn Ink for most days has multiple posts that go out. Because there's even posts that go into a Facebook group that you're only going to see these posts if you're in my Facebook group. You know what I'm saying? So there's a lot of content that I create every week, and it's too much to even have to do it the day before, because then it's like I'm just spending all this time doing content. Well, I was like way behind on stuff last week. So there's that, being behind on this project. Then I have a monthly content client. Shout out to my auntie, who is my current monthly content client. So when I say monthly, I've created 86 pieces of content for her, and give them to her 2 weeks at a time. So I gave her the first 2 weeks, boom, boom, boom. Then I hit this wall of really I needed to remember what I needed to do to get to where I was. And so I hit this wall and basically forgot to give her her content. Now she's super gracious and whatever, but she also knows I'm professional. So it's like that happened. Like all these things happen, and then that's when I realized that, I have to remember what I did to get to where I'm at so that it can help me maintain the level that I'm at. Because if you start forgetting what you did, it's kind of like you're probably not going to maintain the level that you're at. So there's that. But let's back up a little bit because the first thing, or not the first thing, the next thing I want to talk about is that when you are working towards something. So I had a conversation with somebody about this related to something else. But today I saw a post where somebody said, when you want something, once you get it, you need to start, or something like when you're praying for something, once you get it, you need to start then asking for the discipline and all these things so that you can maintain it. And my thought process, I don't agree with that. I think that when you are working towards something, and this is what I actively do, like as I have been working towards, wanting to build up my business so that I wouldn't have to go back to a 9 to 5. Shout out to me and God and all that because made it happen, right? So as I'm working towards that, and as I'm praying for more clientele, and as I'm praying for my, you know, company to grow and finances to increase and all these things, while I'm simultaneously doing whatever I felt I really needed to do to establish a solid foundation for my company. So, like, yes, we know I'm a person of faith, you know what I'm saying? But at the same time, there's always practical things that you need to do to make sure that you are ready to receive whatever it is that you are wanting. Because the thing about it is, you need to also be praying as you're working towards it, praying, hoping, manifesting, whatever language y'all want to use. Because I don't want y'all to get caught up in the language and miss what I'm trying to say. You need to be before you get it. So I don't agree with wait till you get it, because I think this is why people fumble blessings, the bag, whatever. Before you get it, make sure that you are also hoping, praying, manifesting, believing, whatever, yourself to be the kind of person who will be able to sustain whatever it is that you're working towards so that you don't fumble it. You know what I'm saying? And I'm so glad, excuse me, that I adopted that mindset. I'm not going to say I was always that way, but the 9 or so months of me starting out my company, especially once I left my previous employer, I had to do a lot of soul searching. I had to do a lot of thinking. I had a lot of time. You know what I'm saying? This is where I adopted a lot of the disciplines that I have. Like, I start my day with quiet time. I have like a focus iPhone. Shout out to iPhones. But iPhones have a focus function where you can have, basically, you're putting it on do not disturb, but you can set it to be different things. And Samsung may have that too, but I'm an iPhone person. So I have a quiet time focus that I use in the morning. Pray, read my Bible, journal, all these things, right? One of the things that I was praying, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't want to finally get these clientele. I don't want to finally get my company to be, where I want it to be or whatever, and then fumble it. So I just started more so out of a heart of, like I just said, I don't want to fumble it. Because if you don't know, because not everybody, you might be a new listener, my plan wasn't to leave my previous employer when I did. My plan was to work both for however long, save up money, get to a place, whatever. And it didn't work out that way. And it's not because I didn't want it to work out that way, but they made me make a choice. And thankfully, I'm in a situation where I could make the choice that I made, which was to pursue pouring into my own company. But they forced me to make that choice. And but with that, finances weren't financing in the beginning. So it's kind of like once I when I knew it had to happen. Like I understand why people say I had no choice but to succeed. Like I had no choice but to figure out how to make this work best for me because once I had all this time and I got to like create all this different kinds of content and do all this stuff, the longer that I was able to do that, even though business was slower in the beginning, but the longer that I got to do that and I was able to create curriculum that ultimately I need now for sure as I'm being asked to be a part of people's business summits and stuff. So it really allowed me to prepare honestly stuff for now, but as I had all that time to do all these things, I just knew I didn't want to go back to a 9 to 5, but I also didn't really believe I was supposed to. Like I knew it was going to work out the way that ultimately it's working out, and it's actually working out even better than I thought it would work out. You know what I'm saying? So like had I not though made sure that I became the kind of person to, I say, steward it well, but sustain it, whatever language you want to use. I don't know what will be happening right now. So then last week when I was slipping, because I kind of forgot what I needed to do to help me stay focused when I'm doing like the administrative stuff, it didn't take long for me to be like, okay, hold up, I'm off track. What do I need to do? Boom. You know what I'm saying? Because I'd already become that's part of being the kind of person that's going to sustain it. It doesn't mean you're not going to get off track. We all get off track. We all have doubts. We all have whatever. But it's what do you do with that? Do you just stay off track and be like, oh, I'm just can't get right or whatever? Or do you figure out what you need to do to get back on track and just get back on track? You know what I'm saying? And that's what I did. Like even working out last week was just a wild week, you know what I'm saying? But I figured out what I needed to do. Every day is a new day, right? So, like I said, let's bring the point back in. When you are working towards something, make sure that you are also hoping, praying, believing, manifesting, whatever word you want to use, yourself to be the type of person who will sustain whatever it is that you're working towards. Then here's another thing. Don't wait for anyone's validation or approval to do the things that you know you can do, or if you have a relationship with God, the things that you believe God is calling you to do. Because here's the thing about, I've just really, I think I've said this before because I've talked about my birthday for me, that's like my new year because I was born June 27th. I wasn't born January 1st. So around my birthday, that's when I don't do like resolutions and all that ever. But around my birthday, excuse me, is when I'm super reflective and super like just looking at my life and what do I want to leave in 41 because I'm 42 now. So that is one thing I'll do. I'm like, what are some things that are in 41 that I don't want to bring into me in 42? And it's really not about me stopping something, but it's like something that I've already grown from, or I notice stuff like that that I'm like, wow, okay, this is something that I'm not going to bring into 42. So of course, leading up to my 42nd birthday, and I'm an entrepreneur now, I'm like, wow, I won't be working a 9 to 5 anymore because I'm not going back to that. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to go back to that, and it's not even about the money, although I do make more money that, like, especially per hour with the subcontracting that I made in the job that I left, and even the project, you know what I'm saying? There's just more opportunity for more money per hour when you do the math. But it's really about owning my time. It's really about, I like I said earlier, maybe 15 ish hours a week is invested in the subcontracting, and good money comes from that for those 15 hours a week or whatever it is that I do. And then I have the rest of the time to work on my stuff. And honestly, like creating content doesn't take up 10 hours a week. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't take a ton of, because I've created a system where I have templates and whatever. Even creating for my monthly content client, when I did these most recent 42 pieces, because I heard 2 weeks, it didn't take that long because she also has templates. And so I'm just doing a little bit of research to get the content or whatever, like the actual information, and that's it. You know what I'm saying? So it's like that stuff doesn't take a ton of time, but even if it did, it's stuff that like I actually enjoy. Like I love creating content. You know what I'm saying? I love podcasting. I love meeting with the young people that I meet with. Like I love all the things that I do, and sure there are things that are like my least favorite thing to do, but I love owning my time. So I don't want to go, you know what I'm saying? So I've been thinking like, wow, I'm not going to be working a 9 to 5 anymore. I really started a company like Tamara the Dawn Inc. will be 1 year old at the end of this month. July 29th last year is when I actually launched. So that's wild, because if anybody's been listening since the beginning of the podcast, so like not this episode but like the show, in the earlier episodes I really struggled with being consistent. Like it's amazing that I'm going to be coming up on 3 years in November, because I have never done that, you know what I'm saying? And then to have a company that'll be a year old, and then Melon Intoxicate is 6 months old, and I finally did land on a new design. I haven't really promoted it all like that yet, but it's up there, you know what I'm saying? But I have so many I create a lot of stuff, and I have so many like stuff that I will probably release later because it's timeless stuff, so it's not anything that's whatever. I really like to create timeless content even, but it has to make sense the way that I roll stuff out. You know what I'm saying? And as I'm still establishing Melon Intoxicate as a brand, I really need to make sure that all of these early designs are really just reiterating the original message that Melon Intoxicate is to cause feelings of euphoria by way of black girl magic and black boy joy. So dope they get high. That's why you see me use the word dope so much if you pay attention to the designs or the content or whatever, because that's part of the brand's DNA. You know what I'm saying? But I finally designed and put the merchandise whatever up there for the new design. But it's just like, I say all that to say though that when I started podcasting, I never asked anybody's permission to podcast. You know what I'm saying? I never asked anybody's permission to start an apparel brand. I never asked anybody's permission to start a consulting agency. I never sought out anyone's validation. And I also have never allowed anyone's doubt to deter what I truly believe was supposed to happen. And so when you see me reflecting now, even, and like celebrating, man, you don't even understand. I talk about it. Y'all probably know more than the public, I guess, because I talk about my life a lot on here. But I made sacrifices to sacrificing my pride pride even, because I had to receive and ask for the help of like my parents, my kids, whatever. And so, and it doesn't matter what kind of help, you know what I'm saying? Sure, some of it's financial, because especially like with the kids, it's like, okay, you guys are all adults now, y'all got to kick in on groceries, because I'm not making as much money as I used to make, you know what I'm saying, in the beginning stages. So it's kind of like, I'm at my mom's house, you know what I'm saying? My dad has been paying for the storage unit where all my stuff is. So those are just little things, but I don't like to ask for help, and my parents know that. So I've had to sacrifice my pride. But then it's even, people don't understand what they're not supposed to understand. So that's the other thing. Don't wait for other people to understand what it is that you are doing. People didn't understand why I didn't just look for another 9 to 5. And it's not like I couldn't get one. I'm marketable. I have a great resume and I have a education and all these things, but that's not what I was supposed to do. And then, like I said, the deeper that I got into this, I didn't want to do it. And I was just going to figure out how to make it work so that I can continue doing things the way that I had, like, kind of grown accustomed to doing it, of like owning my own schedule. And I don't have to give somebody 8 hours of my day. Like, I don't want to go back to that. You know what I'm saying? But a lot of people didn't understand that. And so you have these conversations with people and they mean well, but it's like, I don't need you to understand what I'm called to do, because it wasn't a conference call. I saw that on a meme I saw it several times, where it was like, don't expect everybody to understand your calling, because it wasn't a conference call. You know what I'm saying? I had to become okay with being misunderstood. I had to be okay with, like, other members of my family kind of not saying anything negative, but I'm just saying, seeing me in this weird position where they're like asking me questions and I really can't give them answers because I really don't have them. Like, that was a very weird place to be. But at the end of all that, it was all worth it. You know what I'm saying? And so that's why I'm very much celebrating right now, which, one of the things I talk about a lot with Tamara the Dawn Inc. content that comes out is like celebrating the milestones. That's something I adopted when I was in college. I would celebrate after every semester, because that's one less semester that I had to do to work towards achieving my degree. You know what I'm saying? But what that does when you celebrate is it reinforces the behavior that help you get to wherever you're at, because it gives you those neurotransmitters and those endorphins and all that feel good stuff. It tells your brain, like, it tells your brain, like, oh, I did a good thing, this is good, I need to do more of it so I can have this good feeling again. You know what I'm saying? But with that, like I said, the original point is, I didn't wait for anybody's approval to do anything. I never have. I don't, like, my episodes, I don't think I ever have. Maybe. Nope. I don't think I've ever asked, like, what do y'all want me to talk about? I actually used to get annoyed in the beginning when people would, y'all know how I feel about this unsolicited whatever. Oh, you should do this. And I'm like, you should just get your own podcast if that's what you want to talk about. Like, you don't even understand what my show is about if you're trying to tell me to talk about something that's other than my life. Because my show is about my life and the ways I'm trying to grow. You know what I'm saying? So everything is going to be extension of either something I really enjoy, which is why the karaoke shows are on there, or whatever. You know what I'm saying? So I don't do any of that, and I'm glad I don't, because it keeps me focused on this. It keeps the main thing. You know what I'm saying? And I don't let it, like, people may. I remember, like, when I was first launching my company and I got invited to be on people's shows and I turned them down. Although great exposure, great whatever, but, like, for me, we know I podcast because this is a therapeutic creative outlet and I'm trying to leave a legacy behind for my kids to see and hear and whatever. So while exposure is great, don't get me wrong, and I'm not saying, like, I don't care about that, you know what I'm saying? Because I understand the value in it. I'm not one that does stuff just for the sake of exposure. So, like, when I don't have time, like, I support everybody in the ways that I can support. Some people may want me to do different things, but I'm consistent in what I do, and so that's why I'd say in the ways that I can support. But I'm never going to put anybody else's anything before my stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like I just said, the 4th of July, I could have went places. I didn't, because it's a Monday. Monday's a work day, and I had a lot of stuff that I accomplished, and I'm glad I made the choice that I make, but it's a sacrifice. So if I'll sacrifice my own fun to make sure that I achieve my goals, I'm not going to choose somebody else's mission, vision, whatever. Like, I'm not going to forsake my stuff for them, just like I wouldn't expect anyone to forsake their stuff for mine. So with that, like I said, let me get back and then close this point. Don't wait for anybody's validation. Don't wait for anybody's approval. If you know you can do it and you believe you're supposed to do it, just start doing it and be consistent. And the thing about it is, people are paying attention because that's how I got asked to be a part of this business summit. To do what? To teach people how to develop a digital marketing strategy, because this person had been watching me create one. And it started with podcasting. Like, podcasting is what really taught me the value of leveraging content to gain exposure for your brand and company. And I just continue to build on it with Tamara the Dawn Inc. and Melon Intoxicate, and all that good stuff. And now I'm creating content for other people. And when I have my consultation with them, I know how to ask the questions to understand, like, well, what are the goals of your content and whatever. And yeah, and that's where I learned about branding and marketing, and then also the content that I create and the teachings that I do helps me like sharpen my skills, learn new trends, all that good stuff. But I never waited for anybody's approval to do anything, and neither should you. Just go on out there and do it. You know what I'm saying? So I have two more points and then we're going to get up out of here. So, this next one, this is what we're not doing in 2022 and beyond. We are not feeding leeches in 2022 and beyond. Now, let me preface this by saying that I do think some people in life deserve grace. I do think there are circumstances where you should do things for people that you know that they cannot do for you. So this ain't what I'm talking about. I do think there are times, again, let's go back to the whole grace thing, where people should get stuff that they don't deserve. Like, I know I've gotten stuff I don't deserve. You know what I'm saying? So, like, this is not what I'm talking about. But this is what, riddle me this, and maybe one of y'all wise people out there, you know what I'm saying, that's listening. Maybe one of y'all can help me with this, because what I'm really struggling with, and I'm gonna be vague so that y'all know I don't be trying to this ain't me being messy on my show ever, but I do have to talk about things that I see or I experience or whatever, because I'm a very reflective person. And it's an interesting season right now because a lot of people are bringing me like relational conversation and their issues or whatever, and I'm sort of helping them navigate it or whatever, because that's one of the things I'm most passionate about, is people having healthy boundaries, being healthy mentally, emotionally, spiritually, but then also healthy in relationships. And so, but I have to be vague because, again, I'm not trying to be messy. So, riddle me this: okay, where do people get the audacity? Because it is audacity to expect people to do things, and I'm saying expect, you know, people to do things for them, or expect people to support them in ways that they have not supported the person that they have the expectation of, or maybe not even anybody else. You know what I'm saying? Like, where do y'all get this audacity? And if it's you, if it's not you, where do they get this audacity? Because that's that leech that I'm talking about, where you expect, and give nothing in return. Like, now there's levels to everything, right? So, like, even with my stepkids, so the kids I birth versus my stepkids, right? Currently, I consistently talk to two of my stepdaughters, right? But that aside, I did not birth those kids, nor did I raise those kids all of their lives. You know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna have different expectations of my kids that I birthed and raised than I have of my stepkids, simply because of the relationship that me and my kids have, is that I raised y'all. So there's certain things that you should know because this is the way that I raised you to know this, you know what I'm saying? So there's levels to everything, you know? So I'm not saying that this is somebody that you have an unrealistic expectation of them. I'm saying this is somebody that's maybe a close friend. This is somebody that's maybe a family member. You know what I'm saying? That maybe it used to be that the relationship was mutually beneficial, but now you've noticed it's not. And they take, and don't give, but have these expectations. We're not doing that no more. And this is something that I've talked about a lot as I notice situations pop off with this, you know what I'm saying? Because people really do, and it's not the same person ever that I'm talking about, but a lot of people in the world, you know what I'm saying? There's this theme in my life where people will have the audacity, you know what I'm saying? And it's just, I don't understand where y'all get that from because I I do not expect like, and I know there are things that people do that I can't do in return, you know what I'm saying? But I don't ask for these things either. Extremely grateful, don't get me wrong. But I don't ask for, nor do I have an expectation that they should do these things. You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of like I don't understand where people get this audacity, but sorry, not sorry. I'm not doing leeches, you know what I'm saying? I'm just not. And I don't feel bad about it because it's kind of like we need to have mutually beneficial relationships if that's the like if we're supposed to be friends or if we're supposed to be family members on that level or if we're supposed to be whatever, it needs to be mutually beneficial. Or if you're just a leech, just say that, you know what I'm saying? You ain't gonna get nothing from me, but I'm just saying like we're not doing that anymore. Like stop having like stop wanting people to I see this. So, podcasting has taught me the beauty of sharing people's content on social media. So, Facebook is where I know a lot of entrepreneurs, like local entrepreneurs, and you see people posting stuff. And I pretty much, I'm not going to say when I see stuff, because, yeah, I'll just say it like that. Because I'm not always on Facebook, although I've been on there a lot more lately. It's very interesting. Just sidebar because I'm on Twitter less. I don't even know why. I just have these phases where I can't. I'm not somebody that can be everywhere. I can only have so much energy, and it. Yeah, y'all see, I'm quieter on Twitter. I don't know. I don't really have much to say on there, but have it to say to Facebook. I don't know. It's weird, but there are entrepreneurs and I'll share their content and then I'll see people that complain about people not sharing their content, not like me, just in general. But my question, sir, madam, if that happens to be you listening, is whose content are you sharing? What entrepreneurs' content are you liking their post on Facebook or sharing their post on Facebook to your Facebook page? Like, who are you doing that for? Because then that's another situation where you have these expectations and you're making these angry statuses but you're also not doing what is expected of you. You know what I'm, or what you expect of others. And the beautiful thing, and I've always said this, which is why I will retweet the heck out of people's tweets about their episodes, or it could be their business on Twitter or whatever, and share people's stuff on Facebook and all that good stuff. Because the beautiful thing about it is what goes around comes around, even if it's not from the person who you're always sharing their stuff. You know what I'm saying? It's going to come back to you. So that's a situation where I share a lot of people's stuff that don't share my stuff. And now we're more focused on Facebook because, man, y'all podcasters, shout out to y'all, especially those of y'all that even share my Tamara the Don Inc. stuff, because I know that's not podcast stuff. So you might not feel like it's important because it's not, you know how sometimes if people aren't doing what you're doing, they don't see the value in it. Not in a, I'm not saying y'all being shady. I'm just saying people just don't understand. So I appreciate those of y'all that do that. But on Facebook, I share whoever stuff that, and it doesn't matter, because what I know is there are people that they don't even have a business, but they'll share my stuff. Like, we're getting there because I'm using what I learned in the podcast community, just the beauty of like giving people, I guess it could be what you would want people to give. And shout out to Baylor, because I actually called in, or already sent, or I don't know if I called him. I don't know, but I already told him this. But shout out to Baylor, because so when, remember when I did the karaoke battle with him, Chris, and Ivan, and what I asked them all is, hey, can you make a video? Because I want to hype up this karaoke battle, because I had time then. First one, it was new also, but I was still working full time job at that point. So listen, y'all got a karaoke battle, and that's just, we was just glad that happened, because at that point I didn't really know how I was gonna make it work, and I made it work. Praise God, you know what I'm saying? So then when the second one came around, I'm like, okay, I really want to hype this one up. So can y'all each make a video? They're all competitive people. Like, it was literally nothing for them to just do their thing. But if you know Baylor, you know that this man, when it comes to, especially, man, watching him, you got to follow him on TikTok. If if you don't, because he is, the creativity in his mind is just, that is, I feel like, one of the most creative people that I know, that just, so many different types of things. Plus, we know he has the dating pool department, but he's been making hoodies and all that stuff for a long time. So this isn't anything new. This is now just the lane he's kind of staying in, or whatever, or whatever. I don't know. Maybe he might be doing other stuff still, but that's what I see him promoting the most. But he has such a creative mind. So this man, like, went above and beyond with the videos. Like, y'all saw, it was like several videos from him, right? But what that taught me, and where I was able to apply that elsewhere, is it taught me the beauty of somebody really believing in what you're doing and really promoting it and embracing it as if it's their own, even though they literally get nothing from it other than, I know he had fun doing the karaoke thing, because he told me that, you know what I'm saying? But leading up to that, you're not really getting out of it. You're actually putting in work by having to create, edit, and then send me these videos, you know what I'm saying? But what that taught me, though, is just the beauty of good I felt, like, and how dope that was. And I thanked him at the time, but then I thought about it later when somebody asked me to create a social media video. You saw the Own the Pond summit that I'm going to be a part of. So that's the business summit. And they asked us to create a social media video. And then that's when it hit me, like, ultimately what I was doing for them is what I do for my own company. I make content to promote my brand, my company, but even to promote services at times, to teach people. So ultimately what I was doing is what I do anyway, but like, it was just interesting, because doing it for them is what ultimately caused me to take my own videos up a level. Because if you pay attention to the Tamara the Dawn Inc. videos, you'll see that I wanted to do that one differently as far as the aesthetics, and that then shifted the way that I do my own video, which, with all things, I start and I do the best that I feel like I want to do with the knowledge that I have and whatever, and then I grow. So if you go back to the beginning of Tamara the Dawn Inc., my goodness, it's quite a journey. And I leave all that up there because I never want anybody to see where I'm at almost a year later. And I want y'all to, I share the journey with y'all on purpose, because sometimes people get so caught up in, like, yes, it's so dope that I was able to escape the matrix, as I've been saying lately, and like escape corporate America, and I'm my own boss. So there's a lot of work and a lot of responsibility, don't get me wrong. But a lot of people aspire to do that. But I share the struggles and the behind the scenes, because I don't ever want you to see just the content that I post on social media or the milestones. So like when Canva will be like, "Oh, you did 2,000 designs." Yeah, I'm gonna celebrate that because that's a random milestone and it's gonna keep me going. But I don't ever want y'all to see all that and not understand a lot of what's really goes on behind the scenes and the battles that I have to face or whatever, just so that when you step out there, your battles are going to be different, but you're going to have some battles. You know what I'm saying? Nothing worth having comes to you easily. There's always, you got to work to get it and then work to maintain it. You know what I'm saying? So that said, I went on a whole bunny trail, but Baylor taught me the importance of really getting behind somebody's vision and like putting your all into it. Just like even I gave him and Chris the hoodies because Ivan said my stuff wasn't good enough. No, that's not what happened. He just said I didn't have to give him anything or whatever. And but I sent them the hoodies that I made for them, and then he made the video that was like the same way that he promotes his own brand. And that's the thing. That's the thing. Baylor is also a fellow podcaster. And so this is where I'm using the him as the parallel because we do similar things. We both host solo podcast shows. We both have apparel brands basically. And so if you're if you're not somebody who wants everybody to win, because that's pretty much how I see Baylor as, and that's very much how I am. And so if you're not of that mindset, you are not really going to promote other people's stuff the same way that you promote your stuff. You know what I'm saying? Um Shout out to Shivani. This is another one. She was a guest a couple weeks ago. Listen, I do 2 episode tweets IG, Facebook per week. That's it. I do the Thursday, hey, new episode. I do the Saturday promo clip. I used to do a Tuesday. Listen, I don't got time for that no more. I do 2 episode promos per episode, and that's it. This woman promoted my show more than I do because she was a guest on it. You know what I'm saying? So like, and that's probably, I'm pretty sure she definitely promotes her own show more than I promote mine. So it's like people who put that same energy into somebody else's vision because they got to be a part of it or because they believe in it or whatever, man, those are the dopest people out there. The pod crew, you already know what it is. You know what I'm saying? I don't even have to, it goes without saying, but I feel like I should say it just because, you know what I'm saying? But there are other people who, because they get to hear a lot of the, oh, I'm excited about this, you know what I'm saying? Especially in the beginning. Like, and even whenever something's going on, they hear about it, you know what I'm saying? Highs, lows, whatever, and extremely supportive. And what I love about us is that even if we have our own stuff going on, we can still celebrate what else somebody else has going on amidst our own stuff. So like Autumn buying a house, you know what I'm saying? Audrey too. That's so dope. You know what I'm saying? Now me in this state of transition, it could be easy to be like, oh, must be not. No, I'm happy for you. You know what I'm saying? So I say all that to say, let's go ahead and bring this point to a close. Don't be a leech. Like, put the effort out there that you expect other people to have, because where are you getting this audacity from? You know what I'm saying? And then for those of y'all that have been letting people leech off of you, nah, we not doing that no more. There are mutually beneficial people, friendships, whatever out there who will support, love, whatever. They are out there. But sometimes you got to let go of the leeches so that you can grab a hold of those people, because you don't have room for everybody. You can only hold on to so much. You can only put out so much energy. So get rid of them leeches. You know what I'm saying? Last but not least, okay? This I want to end on a more serious note. You know that you have truly forgiven somebody. So we're going to get into the whole topic of forgiveness for a little bit. But you know that you have truly forgiven someone when you hear about them going through some sort of hardship or something like that. So, like, if you hear something bad has happened to this person who has caused you some sort of offense and you've been like working to try to forgive them, right? You know that you have truly forgiven them when you hear that something bad happened. I say if you could feel compassion like you would for anyone else, instead of feeling like, aha, that's what they get, then you know that you've truly forgiven them. And I say that I'm not going to get into a ton of detail because the information that I received, I was not supposed to receive, but this person felt like I should know. And so they told me. But there is somebody that offended me that I found out some stuff, you know what I'm saying? And it's somebody that I've worked to forgive because let me shatter this misconception, not because of them. Like, I don't talk to this person. So, forgiveness does not mean you have to let this person back in your life. You could completely forgive somebody and never talk to them again because that's not what forgiveness is. It's not about keeping the relationship with them. You know what I'm saying? So I haven't even talked to this person, but it is somebody that I've worked, been working through whatever. But forgiveness is for you. Forgiveness is for you to not have the chains of you walking around bound to the unforgiveness, but also kind of like, okay, we'll use this as an example because y'all know I've talked about issues with my bio dad, right? So I don't talk to him. He has been pretty much absent most of my life. And then the last time I talked to him was almost 3 years ago when we were in this family group chat. And basically, he was ignoring me. Like, my uncle 3 years ago today actually passed away. So then, when people pass away, the family wants to try to be more together for it. It doesn't, from what I've seen in any instance that I've seen this happen, it doesn't last because if that's not what you were already on, it usually doesn't last because then usually what happens is the things that made you be distant in the first place are gonna come back up, and then you're like, see, this is why I don't mess with y'all, whatever, whoop de whoop. So we're in this group chat, he's talking to everybody else. I'm directly communicating with him and all these things, and he's ignoring me. So and my aunts are like going in on him and my cousins and all this stuff. And I just was like, you know what? I tried to call him to kind of like talk to him outside of that. He didn't respond. So I'm like, you know what? I'm washing my hands of this, whatever. Now, here's where forgiveness is important because those feelings of rejection, especially with it being a father and you having those father wounds, can alter how you view yourself. And so with forgiveness, forgiveness is saying, you know what? This whole thing of you owe me something because of what you did that, I'm letting that go. So it's like I'm canceling that debt. I'm not going to be walking around saying, like, you owe me. You should apologize to me. You should, whatever. You don't have to do nothing. If you don't want to be a dad, that's fine. I am 42 years old. My mom raised me. I am a great human being. I have 3 great kids. I'm your only child, but it's fine. You know what I'm saying? You're missing out on all this. You know what I'm saying? That's cool. But the thing about it is, I'm not going to say you owe me anything. I'm not going to say also that I am any less than because you don't want to be in my life. So that's the thing, too. It's kind of like forgiveness is for you. It's really not even for the other person. You could forgive the other person and never tell them you forgive them because you don't actually have to like talk to them again. It's really about you settling and dealing with the issues in your own heart related to that person and cleansing your own heart of all that really so you could walk around and be free to be who you were created to be. You know what I'm saying? Because when we have like, I'm gonna stick on the daddy issues thing for a while because that's just a topic that I could freely talk about. You know what I'm saying? When you have stuff like that, it alters the way that you interact with men, because a lot of times either you accept anything because you don't want them to leave because you have those fear of abandonment, fear of rejection, fear of neglect, whatever, and or you don't let that person in because of fear of all these things. So then you're not fully loving that person or fully allowing yourself to be loved. So these are things that you're taking it out ultimately on somebody else who literally did nothing to you. And in a sense, I've heard it said that it's kind of like you ultimately become, in a sense, the person that you not always, because sometimes it's like abuse and all that stuff. So I'm not saying that. So I'll retract that because I'm not 100% sure on how the statement is said with that. But ultimately, it's like you're allowing that person to control you. This is where it says there's the chains on you, because you're chained to that person and what they did, and now you're allowing it to affect other relationships and other people. It could affect the way you parent your kids, all this stuff, if you don't let that hurt go. Now, I ain't on no let go, let God and pretend like it didn't happen type person, because I don't believe that's what we're supposed to do. I do believe we are supposed to acknowledge what has happened to us. We have these emotions for a reason. God gave us these emotions. Even in the Bible it talks about Jesus had different emotions, you know what I'm saying? So I'm not one of those people, but I do think that you do need to process the issues of your heart, go to therapy or whatever you need to do, and then you need to let that hurt and all of that go so you can be a whole and healthy person. And so I just think that I know, back to the original story, that I have truly forgiven somebody, that it doesn't matter who it is. You know what I'm saying? Don't get caught up in that because I ain't going to tell y'all anyway. But because I was given some information about this person, and like the first thought in my head was just compassion, like almost as if maybe I had heard that, like, let's say a friend of mine, you hear something bad, it's like, dang, like I'm not a person that wants bad things to happen to people, you know what I'm saying? So like me having that same reaction to this person, that I could like, my feelings that I felt for what they've done have been justified, you know what I'm saying? So I'm never saying forgiveness, that's another misconception. Forgiveness is not saying you are okay with what the person did, because again, it's not about the other person. It's about you being healed and healthy, and you not having these chains causing you to interact with other people who didn't do anything to you in a negative way. You know what I'm saying? So like, yeah, forgive. Like and I'm not saying you're gonna forget, because you're not, and I'm not saying you should forget. And again, let me reiterate, make it clear. I am not saying you have to let this person, whoever that you forgive, back into your life. I feel like people sometimes try to, and I don't know if they're intentionally trying to be manipulative, but I don't know. I just feel like people say a lot of things that, y'all know I'm a deep thinker, and I look up definitions of words, all that, because it's like I want to make sure I understand what something actually is. And just because it sounds good, or just because everybody is saying it, I don't care. If everybody is about to jump into the river, and I know I'm not about to jump into that river because it's poisonous and I'm gonna die, and all y'all jumping into river, RIP, y'all gonna be out there by yourself. Like I'm not a FOMO, so I don't have fear of missing out on stuff. I don't care, especially now. I don't really have time. I don't need to be a part of everything. And I don't care if you like, or whether or not you're okay with what I'm doing. If you're not my children, I don't really care, you know what I'm saying? Because it affect whatever I do affects them the most, you know, and also I'm responsible for them, but other than that, you gotta forgive, you know what I'm saying? Like, let's be healthy, let's work on healing, let's get past this. Oh, that's just how I am, but you don't have to stay like that. And I'm talking about your mindset and stuff like that. And sometimes you have to do a lot of work. Like, I am never going to be one that'll ever tell you that being healed and being healthy or any of that is easy work. I have done a lot of work. I've gone to therapy. I've done different like healing um I don't want to say workshops because it wasn't like that, but just healing things and prayer, journaling, coping skills, soul searching, checking myself cuz I've had toxic habits, you know what I'm saying? Cried. That's a thing I do a lot more now is sometimes I just not sometimes. I don't know. And I guess this is just who I am as a person because it's newer and y'all know that I've been listening like I didn't always used to be this person who cries, but yeah, I guess it's just who I am as a person now and I've just accepted that that's what it is. I was trying to say like, "Oh, maybe it's that time of the month." No, cuz even when it's not, then there was a point when I thought I was going through menopause. We know it ain't that, you know what I'm saying? So this is just who I am as a person, you know what I'm saying? But whatever it is that you have to do to be healthy and whole, you owe it to yourself to do it. It's not even about other people, although sure, other people will benefit from a healthier you, but you just can live a more fulfilling, life when you are healthy and whole. And that's why I promote that so much on here because it's not about the other person. You can't control other people. You can only control you and how you respond to stuff. And some people you got to cut off if they acting a fool and they don't want to get right. And that's okay. You know what I'm saying? Like, don't be scared to let people go that don't mean you any good anyways. Like, let go of them toxic people, you know what I'm saying? Like, yes, we all have issues. So I'm not saying as soon as somebody makes you bad, you just cut them off. I'm saying the people that maybe you've communicated your needs and they just continue to ignore them, then they're just not the ones that are trying to give it to you. And that's okay. And I say this as there have been friendships that there are people that I would have never thought we would stop talking and we don't talk anymore. And it just, that's life. You know what I'm saying? I don't have any ill feelings towards anybody, but I'm just saying if you can't seem to see eye to eye, there's no use in like that's why I'm gonna be understanding how y'all like you talk about who's on your social media, delete them folks. Like I love social media. Facebook, I love about Facebook is I pretty much know all of my Facebook friends and have known all of them forever, either from school, church, I used to work with them. Now I have started adding more strangers because people share my business stuff and it is what it is. Which y'all, there's been this influx on Facebook because I have started adding people that I don't know because the people that I know I have known forever, so they're not going to do this. Like I have a lot of guy friends and or just men that I've known forever from whatever. None of them come at me sideways, but I've noticed that as I've added like more new people, I'll get these men they'll like they ain't really saying nothing. Like how I don't like small talk, you know what I'm saying? I just really don't. And I don't have time for it right now. So you really will have to just and I know there are people out here, but if like you're trying to I don't know. I'm not gonna say I ignore every DM that I get, but I don't know. You could always just tell when it's just somebody that you just don't want to talk to or whatever. Like, I don't know. But if I ignore you and leave you on read, because I read it and I leave you on read on purpose, because I am looking like, okay, what is this person saying? Because there are people that they may be interested in podcast stuff, content creation stuff, business stuff, whatever. So I'm never rude to anybody for that purpose, because I understand that I am my brand, you know what I'm saying? But I'll leave you on read because you're not really saying anything. So then I don't understand why hi queen, or just you just say hi. Like, I get a lot of that where they're just like hi. What do you want? Like, literally, what do you want? And then more recently, you said somebody sent me question marks, like they're almost like why you didn't respond. Like, that's what I do to my kids. If I ask them something and they don't respond, I will send question marks, because why you didn't respond to my text message? Because we have a relationship like that, or I may do that to a friend too, but I've only really done it to my kids. Sir, I don't know you. I don't have to respond to your message. So, like, if I read it and I leave it on read, don't be sending me no question marks like I owe you like a response, because I don't. You know what I'm saying? So I've gotten an influx of that. But anyways, I love my Facebook friends though. I don't understand why y'all be, and I've said this before, like, complaining about your social media. Delete them fools. Follow some other people. Twitter, and we know Twitter could be wild. We know you see some wild stuff on Twitter, but that will forever be my favorite app. I'm quieter on Twitter, but I'm on Twitter every day. I don't know. I haven't really tweeted much. I don't know why. It is what it is. You know what I'm saying? I also haven't been making TikToks like I want. Like, I'll, my company stuff and all that, I'll put that there. But I had got into like trying to make original content, and I'm gonna get back to it because I have like ideas and stuff like that. But it's just like, excuse me, hold on, I gotta get some more water, because y'all, yes, forgiveness is important. Let's get out of here, because now my nose is starting to feel stuffy. So maybe it's too late for me to be up recording. I don't know what's happening, but that's what I got for y'all this week. These are just things that have kind of been on my heart for a little while, but definitely have been even more highlighted in the last week or so. So I definitely wanted to do just this type of episode, you know what I'm saying, instead of just talk about catching y'all up on whatever. But y'all know y'all gonna get, I only could give y'all what I got, and this is what I got this week, you know what I'm saying? So thank you so much for tuning in. Make sure that you are taking care of yourself mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and physically. Make sure that you are being healthy in your relationships. Do I have any announcements? Nope. Like I said, follow me on social media, subscribe to the YouTube channel, get y'all some Melanin Intoxicate. You know what I'm saying? Go check out the new designs. For local folks that listening, I am working on getting some inventory. Y'all know that costs money though, right? And I ain't had it like that, but we getting there. You know what I'm saying? So I'm trying to have some inventory, because I understand that some people don't want to order stuff online. You know what I'm saying? And that's okay. You know what I'm saying? I'm not tripping. Shout out to everybody that has supported though. You know what I'm saying? So thank you so much for tuning in, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.
Ladies and gents, this concludes transmission. Tune in next time for a whole new edition. Another adventure and mission to share, be heard, and clarify the vision of this whole new world for